Today, Charles Payne spoke about AMC stock, AMC's upcoming earnings report, Robinhood, and retail investors on making money. What's up, Ape Nation? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, please smash the like button so we can get this video out to more people. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Alright, let's listen in to what Charles had to say, and then I want to mention a few things after that.
Record amounts of money continue to pour into this market, already lifting ETFs to an all-time high for inflows. But, lots of investors are determined to do it themselves. And, well, that actually has many believing that the forces on Wall Street want to punish them for going it alone. Meanwhile, this movement has become a real force in the market, but has become harder to monitor, right? It's hard to really figure it all out, particularly as, some people are worried the hedge funds have infiltrated the ranks and tried to even manipulate certain stocks. Case in point, this week's action in Robinhood, which would be a natural for people who are using Reddit, for instance, or the app itself. But still, it's the stock was a huge miss on the IPO, and a lot of investors said they didn't want to buy it because of that. Joining me now for all of this is Gunjan Banerjee. She's with the Wall Street Journal. And Gunjan, Sir Walter Scott introduced Robinhood and Ivanhoe as the Prince of Goodfellows and the King of Outlaws, but many retail investors just believe the company is an outlaw. So are they the ones who really buying this stock, or is someone else manipulating this thing?
Charles, so good to be on. I think that's what everyone's wondering, right? And what a wild week. I think we can say for sure that some professional investors have put their money into Robinhood, right? Take ARK's Cathie Wood, and many traders were pointing to her positions as a potential, source of activity this week, spurring even other traders to buy the stock. But it did seem like, based on traders that the Wall Street Journal spoke to, that individual investors were piling into Robinhood shares this week. And of course, they raced to the options market as soon as they were listed.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The role of options in some of these gargantuan moves. How does that work?
I can't overstate their importance this year in the investing landscape. These options contracts have just become a feature of the meme mania this year, of single stock activity. And what happens is, and what we saw this week with Robinhood, is traders are piling into extremely short-dated bullish call options on stocks like Robinhood. Earlier this year, they did it with GameStop and AMC, and they're trying to ride the momentum higher and higher and higher. Wednesday, the most popular options contract on Robinhood was a bullish call tied to the shares hitting $70, which is well above where they started the day. So the options are really fueling a lot of this momentum that we've seen in many of these stocks this year.
Speaking of AMC, it's been under a little bit of pressure here. And now I'm reading where there's a new hedge fund that smells blood. According to the Financial Times, Ode Management plotting a short bet. And many who study the data, I had Matt Kors on yesterday saying that the naked shorting is increasing. Now, here's the irony. I think it would be great for the apes if these folks come at them again, because that's how you get a chance to trigger the big short squeeze. But where are we right now with respect to AMC?
It certainly seems like this battle between, individual investors and Wall Street and institutional investors has continued. I can't comment on the FT's reporting, but I will say that it seems like, many of those professional investors who at the start of the year said, we think GameStop is going to tumble, AMC is going to tumble. Last year they were deriding Hertz. They've been caught on the wrong sides of these trades. They've certainly been caught flat-footed. So I think that battle is continuing, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
I'm obviously rooting for the apes, and I want to see what happens. I know a lot depends on management. AMC, they're going to report next week. What do you think we need to hear from the CEO?
One thing I'm watching for, because this CEO has just done such an interesting job of kind of, currying interest among these individual investors. He's really reached out to them on social media, on different platforms, and made an effort to speak directly to these individual investors, which is kind of new. I haven't seen a CEO kind of approach it the way he has. So I'll be watching for mentions of these individual investors. Recently he said you get free popcorn if you enter the movie theater. So I'm really, really curious how he'll continue to handle that.
Well, I'm going to the theater tonight, so I hope I get something free. Let's talk about GameStop for a moment. Let's talk about GameStop for a moment. It's been quiet, out of the headlines a little bit, but it is still up significantly. AMC too, from the lows, right? They're still 4-digit percentage returns. What's going on there?
And that's the thing that strikes me. I think a lot of people in January would have said, we're not going to be talking about GameStop anymore in August, right? But the stock is still at $150 or hovering around there today, even though, may have been sliding recently. I think this just highlights that this movement has had a lot of staying power, a lot more than many initially thought. That's really the big takeaway here.
I know the Wall Street Journal talks to a whole lot of retail investors. Are you getting the sense that they're in it for the long run? I mean, this revolution has been phenomenal. I love it. I try my best to encourage it. I want people to be in the market forever. I want it to be a lifelong endeavor. But there's some reasons, people still feel the playing field's not level. Gary Gensler's saying the right things, but will he do the right things? So there's some question marks out there. You cover this as well as anyone else. What's your thought?
I think it's tough to generalize, because I speak to investors who say, I'm trying to get in and out of the options incredibly quickly, within hours or even days, to just pocket a quick profit. And then others are really dedicated to AMC, for example, and plan to hold on to their shares for the long term. And that's what's interesting is it's really tough to make a generalization about the broader individual investor base, because they all seem to have different motives and skill levels. So I've seen both things. I've seen investors say, I'm not letting go of my AMC shares. I'm not letting go of my GameStop shares. And other people are like, I'm going to flip this call option in 2 hours and let me see how much I can make.
Yeah. I'm glad you put it that way. A lot of times the media mischaracterizes them completely. And it's a whole lot of people with varied interests, but I just hope they're here to stay. Gunjan, your reporting on it has been magnificent. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Guys, by verifying our AMC shares in preparation for the next earnings call on August 9th, we're actually helping provide statistical data that can be used to infer the actual number of AMC shares that are outstanding and possibly lend credibility to everything we've been saying about synthetic shares on the market. As for AMC's upcoming earnings report, I'm expecting things to look much better compared to a year ago, especially their year-over-year revenue. But regardless of what happens, I'm still holding, because what we stand for is so important. What we want is a free and fair stock market with open transparency and a level playing field. And in my opinion, that's worth holding for. And that does it for this video, guys. Please smash the like button so we can get this video out to more people. And while you're down there, please subscribe. It's free and it helps us out tremendously. And until next time, remember why we hold.